Now let's start looking at how to do the same decorating things in Angular. And there's two different ways we're going to look at this. We're going to look at decorating objects in Angular, which will be fairly similar to what we just did in Node, but we're also going to look at decorating services in Angular using the decorator method that Angular provides for us. So first and foremost, let's do this urgent task over on the Angular side. Now here we are in our Plunk, same Plunk we've been using all along, and I've got my task manager, task 1, task 2, and if I open up developer tools and open up the console, you can see we're writing some stuff out to the console every time we do something. So completing task 1, completing task 2. Now what I want to do, we've got our task, is I want to create urgent tasks. I want to do the same thing. I want to be able to say urgent task, leave these first two as tasks, but then create urgent tasks as well. So I want to be able to have task 3 and task 4 be urgent tasks, while task 1 and task 2 are tasks. But the same save, the same complete and same save functions, this completing task and the save to the repository, need to stay intact because I don't want to break anything that exists. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new file called urgent task. And when we do anything in Angular, we're always going to do our ifs. So I'm going to do function and then all of our curly braces and parentheses. And now we're going to actually create this urgent task. All right, so we're going to start by pulling in app angular.module task manager. And then we're going to do app.factory. And actually, if I pop over to task, the way we do this app.factory task and all of that, let's just copy that. So we're not typing everything over again. Now that's not ideally what we want, right? So we want to not have to replace everything. So we're going to do urgent task. And our urgent task constructor is going to be the same as what it was actually over on the node side. So let's actually do that. From this point, I'm just going to copy everything. So we've got task.call, our task.call, adding things to prototypes, the this.notify, the task.prototype.save, all of that stuff is going to work just fine. Let's just do this. Paste that there, beautify it all. We'll minimize this. And then we're going to return urgent task. So notice I haven't changed the complete function. The complete function from task is still going to be the same. So completing task, when you see that, that's coming out of task. I'm still calling tasks save, which really just calls our repo. But now when I run this, I'm going to have 2 urgent tasks and 2 regular tasks. One thing we still have to do though is add urgent task to our index.html. Spelled correctly. There we go. Now we missed one thing, so let's look at what's in our developer tools here real quick. Task is not defined. That's right. So in urgent task, we're pulling in task repository. We also have to remember to pull in task. So let's refresh that. Oh, and the last thing, when we copied it over, there's a couple things we got to do. In Angular, we were data. So let's fix that. Data.priority. And then we're passing data into our call. We just did it a little differently on the Angular side than we did on the Node side. So now we'll refresh. There you go. So if I clear everything out, when I click task 1 is just a regular task. So I'm going to get completing task 1, and then saving task 1 to the database. When I click on task 2, those are both just regular tasks. So completing task and saving task. When I click on task 3 is an urgent task, which means that when I complete task 3, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to be different. It's just going to work the same way as task. If you look in urgent task, notice there's no complete here. So when I click on complete for task 3, it's calling tasks complete that it pulled out of task.prototype. But when I click on task 3, the save is going to say notifying important people, doing special stuff, and then saving task 3 to the database, called 7 times. So there you go. Completing task 3, that came out of task. Notifying important people, doing special stuff, saving task 3. All of that stuff came out of the urgent task. So for this piece anyway, there's not a whole lot different between Angular and what we did on the Node side. All we did was create a new urgent task and pulled in task and wrapped it up with all this other stuff. So the decorator for an object works pretty much the same on the Angular side as it does on the Node side. One thing we're going to do in addition to this is we're going to decorate a service and see how that works differently using Angular's decorator method.